Welcome back to Devil's Diaries TV, where we explore the mysterious and the supernatural. Today we find ourselves in the embrace of an ancient, enigmatic forest, where the trees whisper secrets of the past and the wind carries tales of forgotten lore. In this primeval wilderness, far from the grip of civilization, lies a hidden gem, a pristine lake, untouched by time and hidden from the prying eyes of the world. It was here that we, a band of thrill-seeking friends, decided to set up camp, drawn by the allure of adventure and the promise of an escape from the monotony of our daily lives. As the sun dipped below the horizon, bathing the forest in an eerie twilight, we reveled in the tranquility of our surroundings, blissfully unaware of the mysteries that lay beneath the placid surface of the lake. Little did we know, our journey would take a chilling turn as night fell upon the hidden lake we discovered. For more horror stories from the Devil's Diary TV, subscribe now to keep the devil away. As darkness settled in, the once serene lake began to vanish before our eyes. The tranquil surface, which merely hours before reflected the twinkling stars, started to recede, revealing an ancient secret hidden beneath its depths. The moonlight cast eerie shadows as the lake bed turned into a haunting expanse of forgotten tombstones. Yes, you heard right. Tombstones. An ancient burial ground, untouched and unseen for centuries, lay beneath the surface of our once picturesque campsite. Each tombstone, covered in moss and etched with time-worn symbols, told a tale of a life once lived and a death shrouded in mystery. As the last vestiges of the lake disappeared, a chilling silence fell over the scene. The night air, once filled with the chirping of crickets and the rustling of leaves, was now a void that was soon filled with whispers that seemed to echo from the depths of the earth and the expanse of the sky. Our hearts pounded in our chests as we realized we were not alone. From the mist that hung low over the graves, ghostly figures began to emerge. They were dressed in attire from bygone eras, their spectral forms glowing faintly in the moonlight. Their eyes, devoid of life but full of sorrow, stared at us, as if pleading for understanding, for release. The tension among us grew palpable. Every rustle of the wind, every flicker of the campfire sent shivers down our spines. We were trapped in a chilling tableau, caught between the living and the dead, between a serene camping trip and a haunting supernatural encounter. As we stood there, rooted in place by fear and fascination, we could not help but wonder what tales these spirits could tell. What tragedy had befallen them? What secrets did the vanishing lake hold? And most importantly, how could we escape the chilling grip of this haunted place? We stood there, frozen in fear, as ghostly figures emerged from the mist-covered graves. Whispers echoed through the night, carrying with them the sorrow and anger of long-forgotten souls. The air became thick with the chill of the past, as if the spirits themselves were trying to freeze time and space. Our hearts pounded in our chests, each thump echoing the rhythm of a dreadful dirge. We were no longer mere campers, but unwilling guests in a spectral theater, the stage set by the souls of the condemned. As we listened, we discerned a pattern in the spectral whispers. It was as if they were trying to tell us a story, a tale of betrayal and murder, of innocent lives lost and a curse laid upon the lake. Each spirit seemed to have its own tale, its own tragedy, its own reason for existing in this liminal space between life and death. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, each ghostly voice striving to be heard over the others. The cacophony was almost deafening, the spectral voices weaving a tapestry of despair and rage. Our minds reeled, struggling to comprehend the enormity of the tragedy that had unfolded on this very spot. Every whisper carried a piece of the jigsaw puzzle, a fragment of the past that, when pieced together, would reveal the horrifying truth. The spirits were not just haunting the lake, they were trapped, bound by the chains of their unresolved past, their ethereal existence a testament to the injustices they had suffered. Amid the confusion and fear, we realized one thing. These spirits were not our enemy. They were victims, seeking justice, yearning for release. They were not figures of terror, but of empathy, their stories a chilling reminder of humanity's capacity for cruelty. Our fear began to give way to determination. We had to help these spirits, to free them from their eternal torment. We resolved to uncover the truth, to piece together the fragments of the past, to give voice to the voiceless. Their ethereal hands reached for the surface, demanding to be heard. As the night wore on, the spirits intensified their efforts to communicate the tragedy that unfolded centuries ago. The once tranquil forest was alive with an otherworldly energy, a chilling spectacle of the past seeping into the present. The air was electric, the ground beneath our feet pulsating with a supernatural force we couldn't comprehend. A sudden gust of wind whipped through the trees, sending leaves swirling in a frenzied dance. The fire flickered and hissed, casting long, distorted shadows that seemed to reach out towards us. The ghostly figures, once confined to the vicinity of the lake, began to venture closer. Their hollow eyes, filled with an ancient sorrow, bore into us, their silent screams echoing in our ears. In the eerie light of the moon, we saw objects move of their own accord, stones and twigs arranging themselves into cryptic symbols. The whispers grew louder, a cacophony of voices from a time long past, each one desperate to tell its story. The spirits, it seemed, were not just apparitions, but remnants of lives cut short, their stories forever etched into the fabric of the vanishing lake. The supernatural occurrences continued to escalate, each more terrifying than the last. A spectral hand would reach out from the darkness. An ethereal figure would pass by in the corner of our eyes. A mournful wail would carry through the wind. Each occurrence was a piece of a puzzle, a cryptic message from the other side. As we huddled together, the chilling realization dawned upon us. We were not mere spectators in this supernatural spectacle. We were participants, the chosen ones who had stumbled upon the lake and awakened the spirits from their eternal slumber. Our fear was replaced by a sense of duty, a resolve to help these lost souls find their peace. We were caught in a race against time, compelled to decipher the cryptic messages and uncover the truth behind the ancient curse. As the moon reached its zenith, we braced ourselves for the ordeal that lay ahead, ready to face whatever the vanishing lake had in store for us. In a chilling race against time, we had to find a way to appease the spirits or face the dire consequences of disturbing the sanctity of the vanishing lake. The once tranquil night was now a symphony of eerie whispers and spectral figures, each one carrying a piece of the ancient tragedy that had unfolded beneath the lake's surface. Our hearts pounded in our chests like ominous drumbeats as we scoured the burial ground, seeking clues amongst the moss-covered tombstones. Each whisper from the past, every spectral apparition, was a puzzle piece in this chilling jigsaw we were desperately trying to solve. The specters, once silent witnesses to the passage of time, now became our guides. Their ghostly hands pointed us towards cryptic symbols etched on the tombstones, ancient relics hidden in the underbrush, and spectral apparitions recreating the events of that fateful night centuries ago. But the more we uncovered, the more we realized the enormity of the task we had undertaken. Each revelation led to another mystery. Each solved riddle uncovered a new enigma. The spirits' whispers grew louder, their apparitions more insistent. We could feel their impatience, their anger, their sorrow. We were racing against an unseen clock, the ticking seconds echoing in the hollow whispers of the spirits. As we delved deeper into the mystery, we began to understand the tragedy that had befallen the inhabitants of the lake. Their hopes, their dreams, their lives, all snuffed out in a single night of horrific violence. We felt their pain, their despair, and their longing for justice. The air thickened with tension as we delved into the secrets hidden beneath the waters, each step bringing us closer to a revelation that could either save us or seal our fate. As we stood at the precipice of understanding, we realized that we were not just spectators in this tale of sorrow and revenge, but active participants in a drama that spanned centuries. This was not just their story, but ours as well, and we were never to be seen again. For more horror stories from the Devil's Diary TV, click here to watch now. Like, comment, and subscribe before it's too late for you too. Welcome back to Devil's Diary TV. Let the story begin. Welcome to a night that started like any other, under the starlit sky, with laughter echoing in the woods. Picture this: the smell of roasting marshmallows, the comforting crackle of a campfire, and the camaraderie of close friends. We were a group of adventurers out in the wilderness, far removed from the hustle and bustle of city life. Our only companions were the whispering trees and the melodies of nocturnal creatures. Among us was Jade, a storyteller extraordinaire, who had a knack for spinning tales that could make your heart race, your spine tingle, and your mind whirl. That night, however, she was not the only one with a tale to tell. For we had a song, a seemingly harmless TikTok campfire song, which we thought was nothing more than a catchy tune to sing around the fire. Little did we know that this innocent melody would soon become the eerie soundtrack of our night. As the fire danced and the stars twinkled overhead, we began to sing. our voices filled with joy and anticipation, harmonized with the soft rustling of the leaves and the gentle lapping of the nearby creek. We sang of friendship, of nature, of adventures yet to be had. It was a song of innocence, a song of unity, a song that was about to become a chilling echo in the darkness. The song, initially a source of laughter and shared memories, soon took a sinister turn. But in those initial moments, we were blissfully unaware of the foreboding undercurrent that was brewing. We had no notion that our innocent song could become a catalyst for a series of events that would forever change our lives. As we sang, our voices carried far into the night, reaching the unseen corners of the forest. Unbeknownst to us, our song was not just an innocent melody, but a summons, a call to the unknown. But as the song echoed through the trees, we had no idea of the terror that was about to unfold. Subscribe now for more stories from Devil's Diaries TV. As the song continued, the world around us began to change. The once comforting crackle of the campfire morphed into something far more ominous. The fire danced with an erratic rhythm, casting long, monstrous shadows that seemed to come alive in the darkness. The wind, which had been a gentle whisper, picked up and began to howl through the trees, carrying with it an eerie melody that echoed our song. The world around us seemed to fall into a strange hush, as though holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. The only sounds were the flickering flames, the rustling leaves, and our own breathing, each one sounding louder and more pronounced in the unsettling silence. And then we heard it, a whisper in the wind, so faint it could have been our imagination. It was a soft, hissing sound, like a snake slithering through the grass. We froze, our eyes darting around, scanning the darkness for any sign of movement. But there was nothing, just the endless, impenetrable darkness. Next came the footsteps, distant but unmistakable. The crunching of leaves, the snapping of twigs. It was as if someone or something was out there watching us. We tried to shrug it off, to laugh it off. After all, we were in the middle of the woods. It could have been a deer, or a squirrel, or any number of woodland creatures. But deep down, we knew. We knew that this was no ordinary camping trip, that this was no ordinary song, that we had somehow stumbled upon something dark, something sinister. We could feel it in the air, a palpable tension that gripped us and wouldn't let go. Yet we chose to ignore the warning signs. We continued to sing, to laugh, to pretend that everything was fine. We thought that if we ignored it, it would go away. But we couldn't have been more wrong. We laughed it off, not realizing that these were the first signs of a nightmare come to life. And then, without warning, Alex was gone. One moment we were all laughing, singing around the fire, his voice the loudest among us. The next, there was a void where he had been sitting, his laughter abruptly cut off. His jacket lay crumpled on his chair, his drink untouched. An eerie silence descended on our group, a chilling hush that seemed to echo with his absence. Every instinct screamed at us that this was wrong, that it was more than just a prank. We called out to him, our voices shattering the quiet, but there was no response, just the whispering wind and the distant hoot of an owl. We shone our flashlights into the surrounding darkness, sweeping the beams over the trees and underbrush, but found no trace of him. It was as if the earth had swallowed him whole. Panic started to creep in, prickling at the back of our necks, making our hearts pound in our chests. We were in the middle of nowhere, miles away from the nearest town. If something had happened to Alex, if he was hurt or lost, we were on our own. We split into pairs, spreading out to cover more ground. Our calls for Alex echoed through the woods, bouncing off the trees, swallowed by the night. We searched for what felt like hours, our flashlights casting long, eerie shadows that danced and flickered, playing tricks on our already frazzled nerves. But as the night stretched on, our hope started to dwindle. The forest remained eerily silent, the only sounds the crackling fire and our own heavy breathing. The once comforting glow of the campfire now seemed sinister, casting long, grotesque shadows that twisted and warped in the flickering light. Finally, we regrouped at the campfire, our hearts heavy with dread. The cheerful gathering we'd enjoyed just hours before had now turned into a desperate search for our missing friend. The night had gone from a joyful sing-along to a chilling mystery, our laughter replaced by a haunting silence. The night had gone from a cheerful gathering to a desperate search for our friend. In the midst of our panic, we found a message that sent a chill down our spines. The note was hastily scrawled as if in a hurry or maybe in fear. It was Alex's handwriting. He was here, he was real, and he was in danger. As we read the words, our hearts pounded in our chests, our breaths coming in short, sharp gasps. The note was cryptic, but the meaning was clear. The song, it read. It called something. I'm sorry. That was it. No explanation, no instruction, no reassurance. Just a chilling admission of a mistake made and a danger unleashed. The realization hit us like a cold wave. The song, that innocent, catchy TikTok tune we'd sung around the campfire, it wasn't just a song. It was a summoning chant, a call to something dark and otherworldly. We'd sung it in ignorance, in jest, not knowing the power it held or the entity it beckoned. Our laughter from earlier seemed a distant memory, replaced by a gnawing fear. We'd thought it was all fun and games, that the whispers in the wind and the flickering flames were just our imagination playing tricks on us. But with Alex's disappearance and his chilling note, we could no longer deny the truth. We were not alone in these woods. We'd invited something in, something that lurked in the shadows, something that had taken Alex. And we, in our blissful ignorance, had been singing its invitation. The gravity of our situation was overwhelming. With every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig, we felt the presence of the entity we'd unwittingly summoned. The TikTok song was no longer a harmless tune, but a summoning chant we'd sung in ignorance. We were in its territory now, dancing to its tune, and the night was far from over. With the darkness closing in, we were determined to find Alex and confront whatever we'd summoned. The once innocent TikTok song had morphed into a chilling anthem of fear, echoing through the trees and permeating the night air with its haunting melody. Our laughter and camaraderie had been replaced by a palpable sense of dread. The campfire, once a source of warmth and comfort, now flickered ominously, casting long, sinister shadows that seemed to dance and prance in the darkness, as if mocking our fear. We huddled together, our eyes darting around nervously, scanning the inky blackness of the forest for any sign of movement. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of twigs sent our hearts pounding against our chests. In the embers of the fire, we began to notice strange symbols appearing and disappearing. They seemed to be written in a language unknown to us, yet they radiated an aura of malevolent intent. We couldn't decipher them, but their appearance confirmed our worst fears. We had unwittingly invited something supernatural into our midst. As we grappled with the reality of our situation, the whispers returned, growing louder, more insistent. They seemed to be all around us, a cacophony of eerie voices carried on the wind, their words indiscernible, but their tone unmistakably ominous. Our fear was escalating, but so was our resolve. We couldn't just stand by while our friend was in danger. We had to fight back. We called out into the darkness, our voices shaking but strong. We demanded answers, begged for Alex's safe return, and challenged the entity to reveal itself. We were met with silence, and then a chilling laughter that echoed through the forest, sending goosebumps prickling across our skin. The night was long, and the horrors were many, but we stood our ground, armed with nothing but our courage and determination. We'd started the night with a song, and now we were in a fight for our friend's life. As the sun began to rise, we were left with more questions than answers. The fire had long since died out, leaving only the cold ashes of our once joyful gathering. The night had taken a turn that none of us could have anticipated. Our innocent camping trip had become a chilling encounter with the unknown. The TikTok campfire song, once a symbol of our carefree youth, had become a haunting melody that echoed through the silent woods. It was a chilling testament to the power of words, the danger of inviting forces beyond our comprehension into our lives. We'd laughed and sung, unaware of the darkness we'd unwittingly summoned. It was a stark reminder that some things, once invoked, cannot be undone. Our laughter had turned into screams, our camaraderie into fear. The campfire, once a source of warmth and light, had become a beacon for something sinister. Alex's disappearance remained a mystery. All our search efforts, all our desperate calls into the darkness had yielded nothing. He'd vanished as suddenly as he'd appeared, leaving behind a void that no amount of reasoning could fill. His absence was a chilling reminder of the night's events, a haunting echo of our ill-fated song. The strange whispers in the wind, the ominous symbols in the embers, the dancing shadows. They were all fragments of a puzzle we couldn't solve. They were pieces of a chilling narrative that we'd unwittingly become a part of. As we packed our belongings, the once familiar surroundings seemed alien. The trees stood like silent sentinels, witnesses to our chilling encounter. The wind howled through the branches, carrying with it the haunting melody of our TikTok song. The woods were no longer a place of tranquility, but a reminder of the unknown that lurked within. In the end, we left with heavy hearts and a chilling tale. A tale of an innocent song, a mysterious disappearance, and a haunting memory that would forever be etched in our minds. A tale that served as a grim reminder of the thin line between the natural and the supernatural, the known and the unknown. Remember, not all songs are meant to be sung around the campfire. Some are best left alone, for they might just invite something that you're not ready to face. For more horror stories from the Devil's Diary TV, click here to watch now. Like, comment, and subscribe before it's too late for you too. Welcome back to Devil's Diary TV. Let the story begin. In a town shrouded in mystery, I stumbled upon an eerie remnant of the past, an abandoned amusement park, a chilling relic of laughter turned to screams. The story was that years ago, a gruesome murder occurred in the heart of this park, which led to its abandonment. Its joyous reverberation of laughter and merriment were replaced by a chilling silence that echoed the unspeakable horror. The once lively carousel, now a somber monument to a time that has long passed, the roller coaster, once a symbol of fearless thrill, stands weather-beaten and forsaken. The once bustling food stalls, their tempting aroma replaced by the scent of decay. The Ferris wheel, once a towering symbol of joy and wonder, now stand as a lifeless sentinel. The park's vibrant colors have been washed away, replaced by a dreary palette of grays and browns, a chilling reminder of the gruesome murder it once witnessed. Whispers of a curse have long been circulating within the town. They say that the park is haunted by undead souls, the zombies, who were once its patrons. The laughter of innocent children and the excited chatter of their parents replaced by an eerie, deafening silence. It's as if the park itself is holding its breath, waiting for something or someone. Undeterred by the chilling tales, a group of us, driven by youthful curiosity and a dare, decided to venture into the park. We dismissed the rumors and the whispers, our laughter echoing off the decaying structures. To us, it was nothing more than an exploration of the unknown, a chance to play detectives, to uncover the secrets. We were palpable danger, wrapped in our own cloak of invincibility. Little did we know that our light-hearted laughter would soon morph into petrifying cries of terror. As twilight fell, we, an intrepid band of teenagers, with myself, Jess, in our ranks, ventured into the ominously captivating landscape of the abandoned amusement park. A disparate group of adrenaline junkies, we were united by our collective obsession for the unknown. The park, once a bubbling cauldron of cheerfulness and joy, stood as hushed and deserted as a phantom town from a forgotten western. Its once lively hues had paled into various shades of gray, and the corroded rides loomed like skeletal relics of their heyday. Our hearts were thumping in harmony, an orchestra of expectation reverberating in our ears. Our emotions were a tumultuous blend of terror and exhilaration, as potent as an elixir from a witch's cauldron. The silence was so dense it felt like it could be cut with a knife. Yet, despite the uncanniness, we were lured to it like butterflies to a flame. As we delved deeper into the desolate park, every groan and creak aged structures seemed amplified, intensified by the silence that encased us. Suddenly, in the beam of our flashlights, we spotted crumpled paper. It was an old newspaper clipping, yellowed with age. As we read, the details of a gruesome murder that happened decades ago in this very place sent shivers down our spines. The park was not just abandoned, it held a dark, unspoken history. We pushed forward, our morbid curiosity refusing to wane. Our footsteps echoed as we treaded on the fragmented pavement. Shadows cavorted in our vision, making us jump at our self-reflections. The crumbling rides and constructs seemed to taunt us, grinning ominously in the burgeoning darkness. An icy sense of unease began to slither into our consciousness, meandering like a frosty serpent through our thoughts. The air was thick with tangible dread, but we remained steadfast, our adventurous spirit outweighing our fears. As we continued exploring, we began to notice strange signs, footprints that bore no resemblance to any human, eerie moans that seemed to come from nowhere, and a stench of decay that was becoming increasingly apparent. The park was showing signs of zombie activity. The place was more than just a deserted park. It was as if it was sentient, watching us with invisible eyes. A chilling breeze seemed to waver across the deserted park, carrying a murmur of unseen specters. It was as if the park was inhaling and exhaling, with every gust of wind a sigh and each creak a pulse. And we were its guests, knowingly stepping. Suddenly, with an ominous and disquieting jolt, the park began to creak, groan, and come alive as if stirred from a long, inexplicable slumber. The chilling. The chilling echoes rang through the hushed night, reawakening the rusted and silent machinery that had been lying dormant for ages. It was not just a typical nocturnal disturbance, but the reanimation of the lifeless metal beings that once entertained children now rising, disturbing the silence of the park. The once barren and desolate expanse of neglected joyrides now metamorphosed into a terrifying spectacle. The lifeless amusement rides burst into existence with their rusty gears grinding, whirring, and droning in an eerie concerto of the macabre. Each creaking sound, each grotesque movement was akin to an undead beast resurrecting from its grave, gaining a form of spine-chilling existence in the dark. The Ferris wheel, once a glorious titan of the park, initiated its slow, moaning rotation, its wail reverberating across the desolate panorama, a phantom from the past re-inhabiting the present. The carousel, their empty gaze and rotting paint, began their spectral march. Their phantom-like trot, mirroring a morbid dance of mirth, served as a bone-chilling reminder of the joy that once pervaded the park. Out of nowhere, the lights flickered on, casting elongated, malevolent shadows that capered and pirouetted around the park, orchestrating a procession of ghostly figures. What was once a dark, lifeless park was now doused in an eerie glow. The flickering light reflected off the corroded machinery and flaky paint, amplifying the terror and dread already prevalent in the macabre spectacle. The menacing sounds, the grating of the rides, the buzzing of the lights, the ghostly laughter of an unseen crowd filled the air. The park seemed to be trying to resurrect its golden, albeit in a grotesque, twisted manner. But there was more to the spectacle than just the awakening of the park. This was no celebration of life, but a harrowing display of fear and horror, as the teenagers bore witness to something even more terrifying. The sight of these ghoulish figures, emerging from the shadows, sent a wave of terror through the group. The tales they had once dismissed as mere ghost stories had come to life. Trapped in a living nightmare, they could feel the park feeding off their fear, growing and more ominous. The park had transformed from an archaic remnant of the past into a malevolent entity, roused by their reckless curiosity, and now inhabited by the undead. The horrifying realization struck them like a bolt of lightning. The park was alive with not just rides, but also the walking dead. It thrived on their terror, and the once abandoned park had now become a terrifying nightmare as its long inactive attractions sparked to life with a dreadful energy. The chill in the air was potent, the eerie quiet being disrupted only by the troubling sounds of ancient machines groaning into action. The once harmless rides now seemed to be their rusted framework moaned ominously in the still of the night. The once joyful carousel now spun orbs glowing a menacing red, casting a sanguinary hue into the surrounding darkness. The Ferris wheel jerked into motion autonomously, the deserted carts pulsating with a strange yet captivating light that stirred fear and curiosity. The teenagers, previously full of youthful audacity, felt their courage swiftly dissolving. Their feelings of joy and exhilaration that had drawn them to the park had now been replaced by a deep terror that sent shivers down their spines. Their shared companionship began to fracture under the strain of their escalating fears. Each teen faced their worst nightmares as the park's haunted mansion, which used to be a source of cheap thrills, became filled with the tortured cries from unseen spirits. The mirror maze twisted their reflections into horrid deformities, grinning back at them with sadistic pleasure. They found that their reality had devolved into an inescapable nightmare. The park was far from merely deserted. It was hexed, and they awakened its hidden evil. Suddenly, a silhouette began to lurk in the periphery of their sight, an ever-present yet elusive ghost. There was like a chilling frost seeping into their bones, a raw fear clutching their hearts. Then a murder happened. A blood-curdling reverberated throughout the desolate park, a sound so petrifying it curdled their blood. One of their friends had vanished, their life abruptly snuffed out without a trace. Panic surged, their fear solidifying into a tangible force, thriving on their dread. And then they saw them, the undead, zombies risen from their graves, chasing them relentlessly. Picked off one by one, their desperate cries were smothered by the engulfing darkness. The park, once a haven of joy, was now a hunting ground for the undead creatures they had unwittingly unleashed. The rusted entrance gates, which initially seemed so welcoming, now served as a merciless blockade, entrapping them within this living nightmare. They were mere pawns in a deadly survival game, their lives teetering on the edge. Amidst the terror, they uncovered the truth about the murder, their worst nightmares playing out in full force. As dawn broke, we, the surviving teenagers, myself, Jess among us, stumbled out of the park, our faces ashen and eyes filled with dread. We had endured a night of sheer terror. The spectral carousel, the haunted house, the ghostly roller coaster, each gave us an enduringly cold memory. Some friends were not as fortunate, their lives snuffed out and turned into zombies within the park's cursed borders. We, the survivors, bore the marks of this horrific memento of the horrors endured. The once lively rides of the now silent amusement park stood still, an uncanny reflection of the unsolved murder mystery. The curse of the abandoned amusement park had claimed its victims, a bone-chilling reminder of a night steeped in terror indelibly etched in our minds. For more horror stories from the Devil's Diary TV, click here to watch now. Like, comment, and subscribe before it's too late for you too.